Picture this. You're standing in a store, holding something you didn't know you needed until 30 seconds ago, and your hand is already reaching for your wallet. That moment, that exact moment, is where financial freedom either begins or dies. And most people never even realize the choice is happening. Today, we're talking about the minimalist money rules that either keep you broke or set you completely free. And I want to be clear right from the start, this has almost nothing to do with your income. I've seen people pulling six figures who are one bad month away from disaster, and I've seen people on modest salaries sleeping better than anyone because their financial house is genuinely in order. The difference isn't what lands in their bank account every 2 weeks. The difference is a set of principles most people never learned and a handful of traps most people never see coming. So let's get into it, because by the end of this video, the way you look at your wallet, your closet, your garage, and your entire relationship with stuff is going to shift permanently. Let me start with something that sounds almost too simple to be true, but once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Every single thing you own costs you money at least twice. The first time is obvious. You see a price tag, you hand over money, done. But the second cost is sneaky, and for a lot of things you own, it's actually larger than what you originally paid. That second cost includes the physical space the item occupies. Space in your home isn't free. Whether you're renting or paying a mortgage, every square foot of your living area has a dollar value attached to it. When something sits in a corner gathering dust, it's not sitting there for free. It's quietly draining your resources just by existing in your space. Then there's maintenance, registration, cleaning, storage fees, insurance, repairs. Some of these costs hit monthly, some annually, but they're always there, always adding up. And then there's the one most people never account for at all, which is the opportunity cost. Every dollar absorbed by a thing you barely use is a dollar that couldn't grow into something else. A $5,000 purchase doesn't just cost you $5,000 today, it costs you every dollar that amount could have compounded into over the next decade or two. That's the invisible price tag nobody shows you at checkout. Here's the rule that changes everything once you internalize it. Before buying anything, calculate what it will actually cost you per use. Take the full price, add in estimated maintenance or upkeep over its lifetime with you, and divide that by how many times you'll realistically use it. Be honest. Not how many times you imagine you'll use it during the optimistic window of first excitement, but how many times you'll actually use it. A $300 gadget you use twice costs you $150 every single time you reach for it. Meanwhile, a quality $40 item you grab daily ends up costing you pennies per use within the first month. The expensive item is often the cheaper one in practice, and the bargain purchase is often the most expensive thing in your home. Cost per use cuts through marketing language, through excitement, through the story we tell ourselves about why we deserve something right now. It reveals the actual financial reality of any purchase. Now apply that same thinking in reverse to what you already own. Walk through your home and for every item you see, ask yourself one brutally honest question. If this disappeared tomorrow, would I go out and spend money to replace it? Not would you be temporarily inconvenient. Not would it slightly bother you. Would you actually open your wallet and buy another one? For most things in most homes, the honest answer is no. You wouldn't replace the bread maker. You wouldn't replace the exercise equipment from 3 years ago. You wouldn't replace half the things in that junk drawer. And if you wouldn't replace something, that means you're only holding on to it because of inertia. Because it was a gift you felt weird getting rid of. Because you keep thinking you might use it someday, and someday never comes. Items that fail this test don't just sit neutrally in your life. They have negative value. They occupy space. They demand occasional attention. They make your home feel more cluttered, and they quietly add to that low-grade mental load that so many people carry without ever connecting it to the stuff piling up around them. Research on visual clutter has found it actually elevates stress hormones and reduces your ability to focus. Your possessions are affecting your mental clarity whether you're aware of it or not. Getting rid of what fails that replacement test isn't deprivation, it's relief. But here's where so many people undo all of that work. They clear things out, feel incredible for a few weeks, and then slowly, invisibly, the stuff starts creeping back. A new purchase here, a deal too good to pass up there, and within 2 years they're right back where they started. The purge felt like progress, but the underlying habit never changed. The way to fix this isn't doing a bigger purge next year. It's changing the frequency of your awareness. Instead of one massive annual cleanout, make decluttering a regular lightweight habit. A quick scan of what's coming into your life each week. A closer look at one category each month. A broader check on overall accumulation every quarter. Small, consistent reviews catch creep before it becomes overwhelming. Removing a few things regularly is sustainable. Facing an avalanche once a year is exhausting and often gets skipped entirely. Now let's talk about something that costs people enormous amounts of money in a way that feels completely invisible. It's the upgrade cycle. You have a phone that works. It calls people, it runs your apps, it takes decent photos. Then a new version comes out, and suddenly your perfectly functional phone feels inadequate. Not because anything broke, not because it stopped doing what you need it to do, but because something newer exists. This cycle runs through every product category in modern consumer culture: electronics, cars, furniture, clothing, kitchen equipment. Companies have built entire business models around engineering the feeling that your working, functional, perfectly adequate possessions are somehow insufficient. And it works. It works on nearly everyone. Minimalists break from this by setting a clear standard for what makes something ready to replace. That standard is function, not novelty. An item is ready to replace when it genuinely cannot do what you need it to do anymore. When it actually fails its core purpose. Boredom with it doesn't count. A newer version existing doesn't count. Your neighbor getting an upgrade doesn't count. None of that counts. Apply this to every category where upgrade culture operates and track what happens to your finances over 5 years. The difference is staggering. The average person running regular upgrade cycles across multiple product categories over a lifetime could easily redirect 6 figures worth of spending toward actual wealth building instead. Now let's talk about human psychology for a moment, because this is where so much financial advice falls apart. Most money advice assumes that once you know the right thing to do, you'll simply do it. But that's not how people work. Willpower is a limited resource. It depletes throughout the day. By evening, after a long, draining day at work, the version of you that needs to make smart financial decisions is running on empty. That's exactly when the temptation to spend hits hardest. Minimalists don't rely on willpower to stay financially disciplined. They design their environment so that the right choice is also the easiest choice. What does that look like practically? It means removing stored payment information from shopping apps and websites so that buying something requires actual friction and deliberate effort. It means keeping shopping apps off your phone. It means unsubscribing from promotional emails that flood your inbox with curated reasons to spend. It means automating savings transfers so the money moves before you ever see it sitting in your account. It means keeping the easily accessible balance in your checking account small enough that you can't casually drain it. The single most powerful friction tool I've seen is a mandatory waiting period, specifically 24 hours before any non-essential purchase. Set the rule and stick to it without exception. What you'll discover is that most impulse desires evaporate within that window. The urgency that felt so real disappears. What felt like a need turns out to have been a passing want, and the money stays in your account. This one rule alone can eliminate the majority of impulse spending without requiring you to resist anything in the moment. You're not saying no, you're just saying not yet, and most of the time not yet becomes never, and your bank account is better for it. Here's another tool that sounds minor until you try it. Count your possessions by category. Pick a category. Clothing is a great one to start with, and actually count how many items you own. Write the number down. Most people are shocked by the gap between what they thought they had and what's actually there. Once you have the number, two things happen. First, buying another item in that category suddenly feels different because you're no longer adding something. You're bringing your count to yet another number that's already too high. The accumulation becomes visible, and visible accumulation is much easier to resist than abstract spending decisions. Second, you can set intentional limits, a maximum number for each category. When you hit the limit, anything new requires something old to leave first. That one-in, one-out policy forces a real decision every time. Is this new thing worth losing something I already have? Often, the honest answer is no. There's another spending pattern that silently destroys budgets, and almost nobody talks about it. I call it the cascade effect, though you might hear it described as lifestyle multiplier spending. It works like this. Every major purchase you make rarely exists in isolation. It comes with an ecosystem of supporting purchases that follow behind it. Buy a boat, and you're not just buying a boat. You're buying a trailer, a vehicle capable of towing that trailer, a storage solution for the off-season, insurance, registration, maintenance supplies, safety gear, the right clothing for boating, and eventually costly repairs. What appeared to be one purchase decision is actually a financial commitment with dozens of branches that keep growing as long as you own the thing. This pattern plays out across almost every significant purchase category. A home gym isn't just equipment, it's flooring, it's mirrors, it's ventilation, it's storage solutions, it's potentially a room renovation to make it usable. A vacation home isn't just a down payment, it's ongoing maintenance, utilities, property management fees, and all the furnishings required to make it livable. The rule here is to calculate the full ecosystem cost before committing to any significant purchase. Map out every supporting purchase the main item will require, add it all together, and then decide if you want to take on that entire financial commitment, not just the headline price. This calculation regularly reveals that purchases people thought were reasonable are actually substantial long-term financial burdens they weren't prepared to carry. The reverse is equally powerful. When you let go of one significant possession, you often eliminate an entire ecosystem of ongoing expenses simultaneously. That's not just freedom from the item. That's real money freed up month after month. By the way, if this breakdown of the Minimalist Money Rules is hitting home, and you want more topics that expose the habits keeping you broke or free, comment the word "more" so I know to keep going. Now let's talk about one of the deepest psychological traps high earners fall into, because this one is especially insidious. It's the absence of a definition for enough. When you never define what's enough, your lifestyle expands in direct proportion to your income. Every raise becomes a lifestyle upgrade. Every bonus gets absorbed into a higher baseline of spending. You earn more, you spend more. And the margin between the two stays frustratingly thin regardless of what your salary looks like on paper. This is why people earning exceptional incomes sometimes have almost nothing saved, the lifestyle expanded to consume everything. Defining enough means deciding in advance, before the money arrives, what level of comfort and quality genuinely satisfies you. What kind of home actually meets your needs versus what you could potentially afford? What kind of vehicle actually serves your daily life versus what would make an impression? What wardrobe actually fits your real lifestyle versus what a version of you that lives more dramatically might want? Once you define that number, any income above it becomes fuel for financial freedom rather than lifestyle inflation. The person who defines enough at $50,000 of annual spending and then grows their income to $120,000 isn't spending more. They're building wealth at a rate most people around them will never achieve. The goalpost doesn't move because they consciously chose to plant it somewhere specific. Without that definition, the goalpost moves automatically, and you're always just a few purchases behind a satisfaction that never arrives. Now, here's the mental shift that makes all of this click into place. Stop measuring wealth by what you have and start measuring it by what you can choose. Can you leave a job that's affecting your health without immediate financial crisis? Can you handle an emergency without going into debt? Can you take time off to deal with something important in your life? Can you say no to a lucrative opportunity that conflicts with your values without it derailing your finances? Can you make major life decisions based on what you actually want rather than what your monthly obligations require? That capacity to choose, that optionality, is real wealth. And it's only available when there's meaningful margin between what you earn and what you spend. A high income with no savings and enormous lifestyle obligations produces almost zero optionality. A modest income with substantial savings and controlled expenses produces enormous optionality. Every major purchase decision is actually a trade. You're exchanging potential optionality for a possession. Sometimes that trade makes sense. Often it doesn't. Asking whether an item is worth reducing your capacity to make free choices about your life is a completely different question than asking whether you can technically afford it. And the second question is the only one that matters. There's a feedback loop at the heart of all of this that's worth understanding explicitly, because once you see it, the entire system makes sense. When you spend less than you earn consistently, savings grow. When savings grow, financial anxiety decreases. When financial anxiety decreases, the emotional drive to spend as a form of relief also decreases. When that drive decreases, you spend even less, and savings grow even faster. Each part of the cycle reinforces the next, and over time the momentum builds into something genuinely transformative. The opposite cycle is equally self-reinforcing, but in the wrong direction. Constant spending creates financial insecurity. Insecurity generates emotional discomfort. Spending temporarily relieves that discomfort. The relief is short-lived. The financial situation worsens. The insecurity deepens, and the cycle accelerates. People caught in this pattern often don't understand why they keep spending. The consumption isn't really about the objects. It's about managing the anxiety the spending itself created. Breaking the cycle requires addressing both the behavior and the underlying emotional reality driving it. Here's the practical starting point, because none of this means anything without action. This week, just start with the replacement test. Walk slowly through every room in your home and mentally flag every item you would genuinely not replace if it disappeared. Don't make decisions yet, just notice. Most people finish that walk with a completely different perspective on how much of what surrounds them actually has value to them versus just occupies space. This month, put the 24-hour rule into practice for every non-essential purchase. No exceptions. Write down what you wanted to buy in the moment, wait the full day, and then check back. Track how many of those desires survive versus how many quietly dissolve. The data from just 1 month of this practice is genuinely eye-opening. Over the next quarter, count your possessions in your highest accumulation categories and set honest limits. Not aggressive minimalist limits, just honest ones based on what you actually use and value. Let the count be your reality check. And in parallel, start working on your definition of enough. Sit down and actually write out what level of lifestyle genuinely satisfies you across the major categories. Housing, transportation, clothing, food, entertainment. Not the fantasy version, not the keeping up with everyone else version. The version that if you had it, you would feel genuinely comfortable and content. These aren't extreme measures. They don't require you to live in a bare room with 3 possessions and a minimalist aesthetic that looks like a furniture showroom. They require you to be intentional instead of automatic, to make choices consciously instead of by default. The people who end up with genuine financial freedom, the ones who reach a point where they have real options and real security, almost universally got there not by earning dramatically more than everyone around them, but by deciding that what they already had was enough, before their spending habits had a chance to expand and consume the difference. The minimalist money rules that keep you broke or free aren't really about minimalism as an aesthetic. They're about the clarity that comes from owning your decisions instead of letting habit, culture, marketing, and social comparison own them for you. You can keep running the upgrade cycle, buying things you won't use, never defining enough, and trading your optionality for possessions that lose their appeal within weeks. That path is available to you, and it's extremely well paved. Most people are on it. Or you can decide that your future freedom is worth more than your present accumulation. That the quality of choices available to you tomorrow matters more than the quantity of objects surrounding you today. That financial security is a better status signal than anything visible from the outside. Both paths are open. One leads somewhere. Choose accordingly. Before we end this video, here's how to make breaking out of the minimalist money trap even easier. We're creating the Trip to Wealth Command Center, a Google Sheet system that centralizes your income, spending, investing, and net worth. It's built to expose the rules that limit you, amplify the ones that free you, and make your path to wealth visible and actionable. Join the early access list below and lock in your early supporter discount. Every wealth journey needs a strategy. This is the beginning of yours. And if this video gave you something to think about, drop a comment below and tell me which rule hit hardest. And if you want more content about building real financial clarity, subscribe because there's a lot more coming. I'll see you in the next one.